First, measure the width and height of your artwork in inches. On the matting guide, subtract 1 from each of those measurements. This will allow your mat to slightly overlap the edges of your artwork for a cleaner look. Then, write in how many inches wide you want your border to be. Remember, you want your border on all 4 sides of your artwork, so be sure to write it in all 4 places. Now, it's time for some math. Add up the 3 numbers that make up the total width of your mat. Don't forget to include the border on both sides. Then, do the same thing for the total height. These 2 totals will be the size of the mat paper that you need to cut. If you have options, hold your artwork against several different colors to visually see which color makes your art look its best. If you're going to use a large roll paper for your mat, you'll probably have to clean up a torn or cut edge to make your measurements accurate. To do this, find the factory edge from the side of the roll and line it up with the edge of your table. Extend the irregular edge of the paper off the edge of the table. Then, with the good side lined up, crease the irregular edge along the table to give yourself a guide. Identify the back and front of the paper if they are different. On roll paper, the back will be shiny and the front will be dull. Make sure you know which is which. Double check your matting guide for the dimensions you want for your mat. On the back of the mat paper, use the clean factory edge as a guide to keep your ruler straight. Measure out your first dimension along this edge, then measure the same distance along the other factory edge. For a straight and accurate line, you always need to measure along 2 different accurate edges before you make a line to cut. Then, connect your measurement marks and draw a straight ruler line. Once you have this line, that becomes your new clean edge. You also have the clean edge you folded. Measure the other dimension of your mat along both of these edges. Then connect the 2 measurements with a straight ruler line. Now you should have a full outline in the dimensions you determined on your matting guide. Before you cut anything, hold your artwork up to this outline to double check that things look right. If you did things right so far, you should have an equal amount of space on each side. If it looks right, now you'll cut that piece out. As you cut, try to keep your edges as smooth as possible, avoiding any jagged starts and stops. Pay special attention to keeping your corners neat. If you folded an edge along the way, now is the time to cut that off too. The next step is to cut the window out of the middle of the mat. This is why it's called a window mat. We'll use the measurements we already decided when we filled out the matting guide. Now we want to measure out that amount on each side of our mat. Double check that you are on the back side of your mat paper, which is shiny if you're using roll paper. Line up your ruler along the edge so you know you're measuring straight. My mat will be 2 inches, so I'm making a 2-inch mark from each side. Then connect the marks with a straight line. Draw the line all the way from edge to edge on your paper. You'll see why in a minute. Then repeat this process in the other direction. Just make sure you use the same border measurement because you want the border to be the same size on all sides. Once your window lines are drawn, hold up your artwork to make sure it overlaps by the appropriate amount. Remember, you need your window opening to be slightly smaller than the artwork for things to fit and align properly. Use scissors to cut out the window. Be careful to keep your edges smooth and don't overcut your corners. If you do it correctly, your window should be in one continuous piece when you're done. Then, with your window mat face down on the table, so shiny side up if you have a shiny side, put your artwork face down on top of it. Use your guidelines to line up your artwork so that it shows how you want it to through the window. On this particular artwork, I have a little extra background on one side, so I can compensate for this by lining it up a bit further towards that side. You can line yours up however it works best for your work. Once things are lined up how you want them, attach the artwork to the mat using a line of masking tape on all 4 sides. To avoid wrinkles, make sure all the pieces lie flat on the table before you start taping. Don't forget this very important step. Be sure to rewrite your name on the back if you covered it with your tape.